When something's happened in your life and you realize that you just have to do something, this is absolutely one of those moments.
Not too long ago, about a year ago, I was diagnosed with, I have retinopathy in my eyes, so I've had to have 12 surgeries. So, and they told me that I only had a certain amount of time, and I'm already past that time. So, and like I said, I turned 50, I'm like, why not go see the Appalachian Trail from the falls all the way to Maine? And then I can take it to my grandchildren and tell them what I did, you know. And if I go blind, at least I, you know, did what I wanted to do.
So I'm working on a film called Trail Mix. My name is Glenn Schweitzer, and I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I own a business called Freshfilms Design, and I've worked in the music industry for 25 years or so. I took on this project out of pure passion. It's almost as if it was handed to me. Not by somebody, but just by the feeling and the desire to want to get out there into the wilderness. What started out to be more about hikers and my curiosity of these thru hikers that were actually quitting jobs, that were leaving their families behind for 6 months.
There's different sacrifices people make. In my case, I actually made several, and the first one was financial. I was 57. I was just hitting the peak earning years for me. If I had stayed at the restaurant for another 5-7 years, I would have been a substantial amount of money that I left on the table. But more than that, I lost my identity in the community. Who am I? I'm Paul Stutzman. I'm the manager of Dutch Valley Restaurant. That's what I do. And for a lot of people, their job is their identity. And I walked away from that. Once I hit Mont Katahdin, I was done. I was retired. I had no job.
There's a lot of people out there doing it for various reasons, some being military vets, walking off PTSD.
You have a case-by-case basis, you know, I mean, and that's where you got to recognize that, you know, it's such a broad spectrum and it can arise from so much, and there's so many multiples that deal into it. I don't, just like battered women, you know, I mean, who's to say just because I'm a combat veteran, mine's worse than a battered woman? I mean, you know, PTSD is PTSD, and right. It's something that definitely affects people. To me, it's a crippling anxiety. Like it's just it's a force that I can't fight off. I've gotten so much better. Like it took me 4 years, literally, to be able to function in public again, really? To be able to trust people, like, you know, I mean, just... I got out in 2012, but it took me a long time, and I suffered a lot, and you know, I lost a lot. I'll never be the person that I was before, you know. I can't live in that reality anymore. We're not afforded that.
Some are people that are grieving after losing a loved one. There's also drug addictions that are trying to be walked off.
I needed a life change, a serious life change. Yeah, I needed a life change because I was killing myself in the real world, so I needed to find something.
There's something about nature that is just fascinating. It's why people get out there. I'm not going out there just to tell story. I'm realizing I'm part of the equation here.
I believe that there's a lot of healing in the woods. You know, John Muir said I've gone into the woods to lose my mind and find my soul. So a lot of psychiatrists will tell you, like, exercise, get outside. There's something to be said about being outdoors, and it's true. Like, just communing with nature is very healing, very healing. And then, but our cities are, you know, they're just boxes, and we sit inside. If we go out to the movies or out to a coffee shop. We don't go out anymore. So I think that that having the opportunity, especially for an extended period of time, is a huge benefit.
I had never hiked before. I had car camped, but I didn't even own a backpack. And so 1 year ago in May, I ventured out on the Appalachian Trail up at Roan Mountain, met my first couple. And that kind of sparked everything. It's like, oh my God, there's stories out here. I mean, you know, this isn't just about seeing somebody at one spot and saying, hey, you know, what's your name? What are you doing? This is follow-up. I mean, this is about what happened to you after you finished?
Felt I have a degree that I have nothing I want to do with, and because I've lived this lifestyle, it is hard to kind of gear myself towards a 9-to-5 job or a high-paying salary job and strive for that, because I ask myself what's important, and it's experience, it's not money.
You know, what's the future of you after you finish this thing? And most people that I've met do not go back to their jobs.
Why do you think the wilderness can help provide clarity or transformation to somebody? What is it about that maybe can be helpful?
You know, I think it has to do with the lack of clutter, for one. And I would think mental clutter and physical clutter. There's something about space, there's something about open space of any type.
Our ancestors evolved, survived in environments very different than what we live in today. We're tapping something very deep, a very deep knowing. You know, these people are out on the trail knowing they need to be there, particularly the repeat people. And nature is a great healer. Nature is a great teacher. Sometimes as a therapist, when I take a client out, my job is to get out of the way and let nature do its thing.
Tell me about your life before the trails.
Before I started the AT, I was actually an engineer. I went to Auburn University and got a degree in biosystems engineering with a minor in agronomy, and I basically did the typical recipe for what everyone says you have to do to be happy in life, you know, like kind of what society expects of people. You go to high school and you graduate and you go to college and you get a good job, and so that's the track I was on before I started the AT. I quit my job. I not only did I quit a good job, I actually cashed in on the little bit of retirement that I had, and with all the penalties and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm just gonna go take a walk and think about this for a little while, because I woke up at 28 and I was playing house with my 2 dogs, and you know, I just realized I wasn't happy, and I didn't know why. You know, like I said, I had done everything that, you know, you're supposed to do to be happy and to be considered successful. So I started thinking, like, what were some of my childhood dreams, and the first one that I really remember having was I wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail.
The past, most of the time, brings me down.
Just coming home every day, I was frustrated, I was ready to quit, and I'm like, I'm just gonna quit and hike the Appalachian Trail.
We probably went 8 or 9 miles, and I was like, I know I can physically go more, but mentally I'm not there today.
Here I am getting emotional about it. Just very, lot of introspection.
I think the trail does kind of cool things. You don't know what's around the bend. I do have my limitations, but it's not going to stop me from doing something that I really love to do.
I think for as many different people as there are different motivations for each and every one of them. We've encountered lots of people that are trying to walk off divorces, that have quit their jobs in their 40s, that have decided they no longer wanted to be in the cubicle.
There's an incredible number of veterans that we meet out there, and in all cases we're all looking for something.
It's interesting when you don't have all the other day-to-day stimuluses of a full-time job and the hectic nature of the city, and things that flash into my head from everywhere from, you know, kindergarten all the way up till now.
I also want to lose some weight. I weigh 300 pounds, and yeah, that's a lot.
The trail, it won't give you anything if you don't let it. Like, you gotta let the trail kind of break you down a little bit.
This is now not just about stories of hikers. This is about a theme. And the theme is that the wilderness provides wellness. For me, that means a lot of different things. You know, it could mean something wellness physically, mentally, but what I have found is that there are other reasons, maybe additional reasons, why people are getting clarity out there. And I have found studies that I will be sharing that are pretty fantastic, that actually give an option of tell you why does the wilderness actually affect people. So trail mix, it's a mix of life, It's a mix of healing, it's a mix of friendships, it's a mix of history, and I hope to bring that and share that with everybody.